In this video, we will demonstrate the Wigging Pointing technique, which is a style unique to Ireland that requires a high level of skill. Wigging repointing work can be broken down into 7 stages: raking out, brushing down, mixing mortar, stopping mortar, ribbon, wigging, and protection. The methods of raking out, brushing down and cleaning and mixing the mortar are exactly the same as the process used for flush pointing, and has been covered in that video if you want to see how it is done. The process of wigging changes from flush pointing after the mixing of the mortar. Once the joint is prepared, the white stopping mortar is applied. Stopping mortar is a fine lime mortar inserted with pointing irons to fill out the joint flush to the existing brick surface. Once sufficiently set, the excess mortar is scraped back. A centre line is then scribed into the set mortar in the joint, using a rule to keep the line absolutely straight. This line acts as a guide for the application of the ribbon mortar, but can also provide a key. The ribbon mortar consists of a very fine sand and lime. This lime mortar is applied along the joint and the centre line that was cut in. Various tools can be used in its application. Here we see a pointing iron used. A tuck iron is also popular. The mortar is applied and then cut back to form a ribbon that stands proud of the brickwork. There are varying methods of application, and in this instance we will show the horizontal ribbon being formed first, followed by the vertical, or perp as it's known. The wigging mortar is the coloured mortar applied to the brick face and up to the ribbon. It consists of fine pigmented lime mortar applied by hand. Here we see it applied using a narrow pointing trowel. A delicate hand is required to ensure the mortar is applied either side of the ribbon without going over the ribbon. It is important to note that each mason tends to develop their own technique as well as their preferred tools. Here the mason is touching up the applied Wigging mortar using a brush. The lime mortar that is not protected adequately from the sun, wind, rain and frost can result in the loss of your hard-earned efforts. Lime mortar needs to dry slowly to achieve its optimum strength and prevent it from shrinking and cracking. Mortar that dries out too quickly can turn to powder and crack and result in a lighter colour finish. During the warmer months, lime mortar can be protected by draping Hessian sacking over the completed work, leaving a gap of about 100 mil between it and the wall. Depending on the weather conditions, the Hessian may need to be wetted. It is always best to avoid working with lime mortars during the frosty winter months. However, this is not always possible.
And if it does freeze, particularly during the first 3 days, there's still moisture within that pointing, and if that moisture freezes, then you're going to end up with failure as well. So those first 1, 2, 3 days, the initial set, the hydraulic set that it goes through, it's really important because that's when the lime mortar is most sensitive. After that, then it'll go through the carbonation process and it'll set. It could take up to 30 days during the summer periods. During winter periods, it's as long as 50 days before it reaches its final set.
The finished wigging pointing results in a beautiful, fine, consistent and even brick joint. This video is proudly brought to you by Oldstone Conservation. For further information, please visit our website or take time to view our other videos in our advice series.